What's up, everybody? Matt Gajewski here, back again talking college basketball. And today it is Friday, January the 23rd. Winter storms everywhere in the United States. What does that mean? It means we get rescheduled games. We get daytime basketball. I know there's probably not a lot of positives to this, but at least we get basketball through the entire day on Friday. It's going to be awesome. Anyway, if you like this content, please consider subscribing to the channel or leaving a like on the video. Those two things help us immensely. It helps us get in front of new viewers and just continue doing this in the long term. We do discuss sides and totals as we break down these games. So if you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. We're going to kick things off today in the Mountain West. Utah State takes on Colorado State. 4.5-point spread in favor of Utah State. This game has a 147 total. First and foremost, we show value on Colorado State, but a lot of scar tissue for me. This is a rematch. First time these teams played. A lot of areas of this game was just flat out dominated by Utah State. I mean, inside, the percentage of shooting were 68% to 42%. The rebound margin was 40 to 20 in favor of Utah State. Colorado State only shot 30% from three. It was one of their worst marks on the year. It should be noted that Rashawn Memba and Kyle Jorgensen basically didn't play. Memba didn't play at all. Jorgensen only played 4 minutes. But man, this was not a good showing for Colorado State. Those two guys are back now. They're at home, so maybe things will be a little different. But overall, Utah State is 15-3. Their only losses are to South Florida, Grand Canyon, and UNLV. They have lost their last 2 games, though. Best win easily over VCU, who's at 49. Then for Colorado State, they are 12-7. This is the 88th ranked team in the country. When we talk about rankings, it'll be from KenPom. They're just more accurate than the AP or anyone else you might use. Colorado State is a bad loss to Denver at 259, but the rest of this, pretty complete body of work. They are 117th in strength of schedule. As for height and rebounding, outside of the injuries, there's really no excuse for them, Colorado State that is, to lose the rebounding battle by 20. They're 70th in rebounding, 37th in height. Against Utah State, 37th in rebounding. Height difference is minimal between these teams. So basically, on paper, you have minimal height, minimal rebounding edges. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but that is how it played out. Utah State's a good shooting team, as is Colorado State. But Utah State plays largely inside. They're 14th on the inside. They don't take a ton of threes, but when they do, Mason Falsalev is pretty good, 38%. MJ Collins, 41. Kobe King, 42. Play a lot in transition and pick and roll. Colorado State is horrible on defense. They don't have a single defender in the top 50 of the Mountain West. They're 192nd on the perimeter, and that's their best metric, 252 overall. I don't know. Utah State's probably going to score at will again. And then Colorado State, 6th in effective field goal. They're going to need to keep up. They are 2nd in three-point percentage and 23rd in three-point rate. Brandon Rex-Steiner, 42.5%. Kyle Jorgensen, 48.5%. Josh Pasquarelli, 45%. Kerry Booth, 46.5%. Chase Butler, 41%. They play this attack and kick style inside out. Utah State's pretty good at defending stuff like this. They have good guard defenders, especially. Decent rim protection. They're 36th inside. It's not the best matchup for Colorado State, kind of evidenced by the first time they played. Utah State is 9th in turnovers forced. Colorado State is 246th in turnovers committed. Big advantage for Utah State. However, the opposite is true. And fouls, Colorado State generates a lot. Utah State plays aggressive. They foul a ton. But they are 79th in bench minutes. This is sort of a luxury they're afforded. Our model has this 78. Utah State, 74.5, Colorado State. So about 3.5 points. Gives us a little bit of value on Colorado State, but I'm not sure I have the heart to play this given what happened in the first game. We're going to wait and see where the line goes throughout the day. Next up, Ohio State takes on Michigan. Ohio State's taking money. It's down to 15 points. They are still a 15-point dog, a 165 total. Brandon Noel is the only injury in this game to monitor. He's been out for the last 4 games on Ohio State. Michigan hasn't looked as good recently. This team has not covered quite a few spreads in a row. They lost to Wisconsin recently, their only loss. They are still the number one team in the country. But you look at this, they only have 3 top 30 wins: Auburn, Villanova, and Gonzaga. The best part about it is they crushed all 3, but recently they've been playing closer against Big Ten teams. Ohio State is 35th in the country, 13-5 overall. Their worst loss is to Pitt by 1 point on the road. Pitt is number 98. They have 1 top 50 win over UCLA. Strength of schedule is 54th for them. On paper, Ohio State's not the worst matchup. They're 34th in height, 34th in rebounding. You kind of need both of those against Michigan, who's enormous, very good at rebounding. But I'm still not sure it's enough. Their shooting percentage is decent. It largely comes through the interior, though. They're only 174 in three-point percent, and they don't take a ton of threes. It's basically just Bruce Thornton and John Mobley hitting 41.5%. Royals okay. They post up a lot. They play inside out. I don't think that's going to work against Michigan. Number 1 in defense, number 1 inside. Top 3 defenders in the Big Ten with Lendeborg, Mara, and Morez. Good luck. Michigan can also shoot the ball pretty well. 7th in effective field goal. Number 1 inside. Number 7 from 3. They take a lot of threes. Basically, they play in transition. If that doesn't work, they're throwing it in the front court. If someone gets doubled, kicking it out for an open 3 to Cadeau or Burnett, both above 40%. Ohio State is 109th inside. They just don't have the bodies to stop this. Neither team forces a lot of turnovers. Michigan's a little better there. Both teams generate a ton of fouls, but Ohio State fouls more often. I'm worried about guys like Christoph Tilley, 4.8 fouls per 40. That could be problematic for them. Ohio State is 320th in bench minutes. They do not have a deep bench. Tempo, Ohio State's 199. Michigan is 9th. Score, have it 73.6 for Ohio State to 89.3. That's very close to the spread, but it does leave a little bit of value towards the under. We have this around 163. I'm kind of nervous by it, but I still think maybe you could play this. If anything, you might look to like an Ohio State team total under is the top play in the game. We're going to explore that a little more after the show. St. Louis takes on St. Bonaventure. The road St. Louis, they are 8-point favorites, 157.5 total. St. Louis has had a good year. They're just not tested. They're 18-1. Only losses to Stanford, but that's also the 3rd best team they played this year. They have wins over Grand Canyon, Santa Clara, and VCU. Santa Clara is top of that list at 43. Now, they do have 4 road wins, including VCU, who's 49, but the strength of schedule is 259. However, St. Bonaventure has been stumbling of late. They are 12-7, but they're 1-5 since the new year, so A-10 play has not gone well for them. Losses to Ohio, Fordham, and LaSalle, all of those around 200 overall. The one redeeming thing is those losses they've taken recently, their 6 most recent losses actually have all been by single digits. Strength of schedule is 253. So these teams are pretty similar in terms of size and rebounding. They're good at both. The real difference here is St. Louis is 19th in defensive rebounding, where St. Bonaventure is 151 if you're looking for an edge. But overall, 2 teams with size, kind of. Let's say this, 2 teams with average size, but comparable size, and pretty good rebounding units. St. Louis is 3rd in effective field goal percent. They shoot the lights out everywhere, and they're 95th from 3. Robbie Avila is at 43%. He's your center. He's going to stretch the floor in space. Trey Green is 47%. Brady Dunlap, 41%. Ishan Sharma, 38%. They play in transition. They play through their front court. Pick and pops are going to be a dangerous weapon for this team against St. Bonaventure, who's 259th in total defense and flat out can't defend anything. Now, how does St. Bonaventure maybe keep up? They're 137th in effective field goal percent, but this team has a very weird shooting profile. 27th in three-point percent, but 330th in three-point rate. They do not shoot a lot of threes, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Front court is not very efficient, but that's how they're playing. Now you're facing the 3rd-ranked interior defense for St. Louis with the rim protection of Avila. They're also very good on the perimeter with Quentin Jones and Amari McCautry. This is no easy task. So I'm not sure they're going to score much. St. Bonaventure does force a lot more turnovers, but unfortunately, St. Louis is pretty clean with the ball themselves. They don't turn it over. Fouls generated don't project to be a major obstacle for either team. We currently have the score 84.3 to 74.8. We have this about minus 10, 9.5, given a little value on St. Louis. Now, money's coming in the other way, so we're just going to wait and see where this settles, but likely to play a St. Louis side. All right. Marquette Butler, 7.5 point spread in favor of the home team. We already did take Butler minus 6.5. Totals 160.5. If you ever want the plays before they hit YouTube, we do have a Discord. It's available in the link below. We project every single game, a score. So totals, spreads, we have that. We also have player projections for the major games, minutes, rebounds, assists, steals, blocks, everything all the way down to the player level for those major games. It's available in the Discord if you would like. That is my poor self-promotion, not my strength, but need to do it more. So there you go. We project this game a little wider than the spread for Butler, about -8, -9. Injury, Sean Jones for Marquette, Jalen Jackson for Butler. Both have been out a while. Marquette is 7-13. They just picked up their second top 100 win over Providence, who did not have their best player, took OT to do so. The other one is Xavier. 3 losses outside the top 100 for Marquette. It has been a disaster of a season. Butler's 12-7. They only have a couple losses outside the top 50 and none outside the top 100. With that said, wins inside the top 100 over South Carolina, Virginia, Providence, and double OT, Northwestern, Seton Hall. She has a much better body of work. Size-wise, both teams are pretty tall. Marquette's taller, but they are absolutely inept on the glass. They are 261. It makes absolutely no sense. And part of it is just Ben Gold standing in the corner. Butler's a little shorter, but way better at rebounding, so that's a potential edge. Marquette can't shoot at all. This team is an absolute disaster from the perimeter. Their best player is Nigel James by a lot. So if you can stop him, you can kind of probably beat this team. They don't play well inside. They kind of live in transition and then just backdoor cuts to the basket. Butler can absolutely stop this. Butler's defense is 77th. They're pretty decent on the perimeter as well as in the front court. It's just not a very good matchup for Marquette, especially against a Butler team that is really going to try to play. I don't know if they're going to try to play in transition quite as much, but it's at least worth watching in this particular game. They might try to slow it down, which has not been typically what they've done this year. But that's really, if you can slow down Marquette in transition, you can beat this team. So I don't know if Butler's going to play with as much pace. Typically, they're 54th in pace. But anyway, when Butler has the ball on offense, this team is 103rd in effective field goal percent. They're pretty good shooting everywhere. Now, I don't know if they're going to shoot a ton of threes in this game. Evan Haywood is by far their best shooter. He's at 39%. They're not a team that has like a flamethrower from 3, but they're pretty well balanced. They prefer to play inside. They're only 229th in three-point rate, which playing inside I think is suitable against Marquette. Marquette is awful in interior defense. They're 196th. Even though they have some size, they're incapable of playing down there. So it's another advantage for Butler. Then you get to stuff in the periphery. There's not a lot favoring Marquette over here either. Turnovers, Butler is pretty careful with the ball. So Marquette, they definitely have a turnover edge. I'm just not sure it's going to be enough in this game, especially to win a game like this. And then Butler takes that advantage right back via fouls. They generate a ton of fouls. They're 18th there. Marquette isn't often in foul trouble, but this is definitely another advantage for Butler. Free throw percentage, Marquette is 310th. Butler is 213th. I don't know, man. Marquette is an utter disaster this year. So we're going to play the Butler side and live with the consequences. We took a 6.5. East Carolina, North Texas. Let's go to the American. Not the most fun conference, not the most fun game. North Texas is a 10-point favorite, 135 total in this game. Josiah Shackelford was out the last game. I don't think it matters. He is a rotational player. East Carolina is 280th in the country. They have 5 wins. They only have 3 wins against top 300 teams. They have losses outside the top 200 to Charleston Southern, Greensboro, App State. Greensboro's 295. This is a mess. North Texas is 133. They only have one loss outside the top 200 to Oregon State. Every other loss they have is inside the top 100, albeit barely. They do only have one top 100 win. It's against Tulsa. That's a good win. The weird thing about the schedule is you have one top 100 win, two top 200 wins. So that includes Tulsa, but the other one is Tulane. Weird body work from North Texas. Size-wise, East Carolina is much taller. It's not effective height, though. They're 187th in rebounding. North Texas is 212th, which should be pretty neutral. East Carolina can't shoot at all. 358th in effective field goal percentage. North Texas is 35th in defense. So you got a team that doesn't have anyone shooting above 29%. They try to use pick and rolls. I mean, they're just not going to be able to score. North Texas, however, typically not the most offensively gifted team. They're 319th in effective field goal percentage. But they're playing a bad defense in East Carolina, who's 197. They're terrible in transition. They're horrible on the glass. North Texas can exploit the latter especially. So the big thing here is if you're bad on the glass, it doesn't matter if North Texas is a horrible shooting team. You're probably going to get extra opportunities. Jashawn Stevenson's the only one that really shoots threes, but they're going to play through their front court. It could be a messy game, but there's a ton of advantages for North Texas, who's also 9th in turnovers forced. East Carolina commits a ton of turnovers. The only thing that might favor favor East Carolina here is they do generate some fouls, and North Texas commits a ton of them. The only issue is North Texas plays a fairly deep bench, and East Carolina, if they get to the line, they're 320th in free throw percentage. This is a mess of a game. We took North Texas minus a 9. We make this minus 10.5. Score of 59.5 to 71. 11.5. So there's still some value on the bone here. Last game, we are going to talk Wagner, Moyne quickly. We played an over in this game. Tempo is questionable. Wagner is at 264. They've slowed a bit since conference play. Moyne is the opposite, 126. They've played a little faster. Both these teams are pretty good at shooting. Wagner's 171 in effective field goal percentage, 8th in three-point percentage. Moyne is 349th in three-point defense. Similarly, Moyne is 115 in effective field goal percentage, 104th in three-point percentage. Wagner is 315th in three-point percentage. We have two teams that actually can shoot the ball pretty well from the perimeter. Both defenses are horrendous. Overall, both defenses are horrendous. So this comes down to mainly an efficiency play more than anything else. Both these teams should be able to shoot over the top. We played over a 146. There was a 145, a stale one hanging there in the balance. I missed it by like 30 seconds. But this is still playable if you're looking for something in the grease section of today's slate. But that'll do it for us today. We'll look at the slate and potentially play a few more of these. Everything will be in Discord. We'll post to Twitter a little bit later. If you have recommendations or games you want to hear about for tomorrow's slate or Sunday's slate, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, good luck. We'll see you guys next time.